Some fans need to get a fucking grip. They need some reality check and some brain cells too. Newsflash, actors are people with careers. They have every right to choose the roles that challenges them, interest them, whatever pays the bill. They're here to bring a character to life, not to answer to fans' every whim. When fans start thinking they own the actors, we've crossed a line. Just because an actor plays a queer role or acts a certain way on screen doesn't mean they owe fans any part of their personal life. A character is not the actor. Do we understand that? Some fans are so delusional they cannot tell the difference. The fantasy world of BL and the real life individual portraying it are separate. I don't know why this has to be said, but obviously a lot of people don't understand. Fans need to remember that their relationship with an actor isn't a two-way street. This parasocial attachment is so on a level that I cannot comprehend. When fans start feeling entitled to dictate an actor's career choices, sexual orientation, or personal boundaries, at the end of the day, actors are individuals with their own lives, preferences, and identities. They're not here to cater to anyone's fantasy or fit neatly into fans' expectations. Boycotting an actor for simply choosing to play a character is so backwards. If the point of acting is to portray diverse stories, why would we punish actors for stepping into those stories? The entertainment industry is finally moving beyond rigid, outdated boundaries. Boycotting actors willing to take on queer roles only reinforces the stigma around those roles. If we're serious about normalizing LGBTQ plus stories, we should be supporting these actors. It's fucking 2024. Calling for boycotts sends a message that queer roles are somehow quote unquote wrong or career ending. If we want queer stories to thrive, we should support the actors brave enough to step into those roles. Demanding actors to steer clear of queer roles is missing the entire point of storytelling. Actors should be free to explore any role without fear of public led boycotts or moral policing. It's their career, their choice. Respecting an actor's craft means respecting their autonomy. People who call for boycotts clearly care more about controlling actors' careers than in supporting the art. The same actors these audiences want to boycott are the ones opening doors for more diverse stories in the mainstream media. Every role they take normalizes LGBTQ plus relationships just a little more. So boycotting them isn't just petty, it's counterproductive. This kind of backlash only discourages actors from exploring queer roles in the future. If we want to see more meaningful representations, we should be supporting, not sabotaging the very people expanding it. Boycotts are nothing but thinly veiled attempts to control the narrative and keep certain actors in line. The reality is, audiences don't own these actors. And it's time everyone realized that. These fans, honestly, they're dehydrated. They need to drink some water. It's so great to see the BL community cheering for Namsunyo. I'm so proud of us. We should be supporting these actors that dared to challenge society's comfort zone. If we truly want to see more authentic, well portrayed queer relationships on screen, we need to support the actors stepping up to the job. Actors are here to act. That's the whole point. Audiences are here to watch. This isn't a negotiation or a collaborative decision. If an actor chooses to take on a queer role, that's their choice. And everyone else can either support it or quietly move on. With that in mind, let us move on. Fucking forgot my intro, didn't I? Well, my name is Nao Chan. Welcome all. I do reviews and commentaries on BL shows, BL fandom in general, I guess. If that interests you, please subscribe and give this video a like. So that's out of the way. I absolutely adore visual storytelling because it's so fun and mesmerizing to watch. Every lighting change, color gradient choice, the natural sound and background music makes the whole experience so immersive. That's why I love Eighth Sense and Blooming. Both are so beautifully shot. I was expecting a similar approach in the show, so the first episode confused me. The first two episodes were so K drama coded. I'm not disappointed, but more thrown off, I guess. But moving further to episodes 3 and 4, the choices that they made start to make sense. It was very apparent that there were different directors, and I kind of appreciate that approach. It highlighted how each stage of Young's character and relationships reflect the different emotional tones, challenges, and growth. Each directors bring unique perspective and stylistic choices, allowing each stage to feel fresh and distinct, especially towards the middle part of the series during Young's relationship with Youngso. I relate so much to Mie, Young's best friend. I can see myself being that crazy in my early 20s, just drunk at every opportunity and not having any direction in life other than the next drinking session. The main difference, I was already done with college and on my first job. Mie and Young had the right idea. Just share your life with your best friend and get them to share the bills too. Especially in this economy, I cannot. Makes everything so much easier than getting in a relationship. The abortion plot, though, threw me off a bit. I hope there was a trigger warning, but I guess I survived watching Happy of the End, so I should be fine. And a lot of other shows does not even have an inkling to provide any trigger warnings. I mentioned this before, I am a mom of two, and I can understand Mie at that age thrown in that situation. It's going to be so scary, and she's lucky to have Young as support as such a confusing and challenging time. Them drifting apart is also so realistic that it honestly broke my heart, because even the best friendship that you have in life can possibly fade, and it's not even a fallout. It can just be different directions in life, like family or work. And sometimes the end of a beautiful friendship is more heartbreaking than your usual breakup. The gay friendship group. I don't know what I feel about the stereotypical gay portrayal, and I don't think that as a cis woman, I'm in any position to comment on that. So I will leave it by saying it made me raise an eyebrow. That being said, I do know quite a few friendship groups that are like that. Not mine, because for some reason my gay friends are the most timid and mild mannered gays I have ever seen. That my girlfriends are gayer than them. It's so insane. My all women friendship group are all moms and they are so fucking loud. Okay, so on to the first boyfriend, Kim Namgyu. Because we are not going to acknowledge the vlogger, he doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things other than to say that he's such a fucking douchebag. What the hell? Cheating on your boyfriend while you're in the military? Like, I'm having 8 cents flashbacks. So Young and Namgyu scenes. They were such a challenge to go through because it was so awkward and I'm getting secondhand embarrassment with how earnest Namgyu was, especially since he's the older one. I immediately clocked him to have obsessive tendencies and Young definitely did not handle that properly. Actually, that could have turned uglier. I was expecting some violence from Kim Namgyu because that kind of obsessive behavior can easily turn very violent. Young should have sat him down properly instead of going off on Namgyu like he did, but I was glad they were able to have that conversation and laid their relationship to rest properly. And Young was able to say his piece as to where the disconnect was. They should have set proper boundaries right at the start of the relationship anyway. A lot of times people don't do that because it was exciting and romantic to just fall into the relationship. But it's very important to be on the same page when you're starting. Setting proper expectations, setting boundaries, they are very essential to a healthy relationship. Take it from mother because these are points I have learned as I make mistakes after mistakes. Going back, I'm not saying anyone's at fault between Young and Namgyu. Sometimes no one's at fault. But Young should have put his foot down when he saw that Namgyu was at 100% right off the bat. Like more than 100% right at the start of the relationship. And he's not comfortable with it. It was a sad situation all around, and the ending was just so tragic. And I think how that ended affected his next relationship. Okay, so moving on to the evil incarnate. Just kidding. Well, not really. I think No Young Soo is a very troubled man. I honestly don't think that he set out to hurt Young. Having your own issues, though, is not an excuse to hurt the people around you or the damages that you make. No Young Soo should not have been in any relationship to start with. I know Gyu Ho was supposed to be Young's true love and all, and they're great, but my favorite part is definitely his relationship with No Young Soo. It just hits differently because Young seems to be most invested in this relationship than with anyone else. Unfortunately, he fell for someone that's not ready for him, not ready to be with him, and not even ready to be himself. Internalized homophobia is a very powerful thing, and it's not enough that you know about it yourself to get rid of it or get better from it. It is a complex, deeply personal issue for many people in the LGBTQ plus community. It results to a lot of self stigma, self hatred, even after someone acknowledges they may be carrying these internal biases. Overcoming them can be incredibly challenging because it comes from years of conditioning and self protective behaviors. This process often involves untangling years of deeply held beliefs, which requires patience, self reflection, and compassion. And Noyon Su had a lot of societal pressure. The fear of rejection reinforces internalized homophobia. Even if someone has accepted their identity, they may still fear judgment, exclusion, or discrimination from others, which can prevent them from fully embracing themselves and engaging in the queer community. His fear of discrimination and or judgment from his friends and colleagues lead to Young feeling undervalued or hidden. And the longer that someone is in that situation, not only does it strain the relationship, but it also affects the mental health of your partner. It can be difficult for someone dealing with internalized homophobia to allow themselves to be truly vulnerable, especially in a romantic relationship. Intimacy requires a level of self acceptance and openness, but internalized shame can hinder one's ability to express love, needs, and affection freely, creating a barrier to deepening friendship or relationship. Being in a relationship where your partner is not out can create a sense of emotional isolation. Being in a relationship with someone who has not taken the journey of self acceptance sometimes feel like a step backwards. It undermines your pride, forcing you to re examine your confidence and identity within the relationship. Young feels a responsibility to help No Young Soo struggle by standing up for Young Soo in front of his colleagues and introducing himself. Introducing Young Soo to his mother. But that is so emotionally exhausting. As much as we would like to fix our partner, I got news for you. It's not your responsibility. You are a partner, not a caretaker or a counselor. You can't fix him, my dear. I'm sorry. Constantly having to downplay your identity or hide your relationship can erode your self esteem. Doesn't matter how alive or full of life Young was at the start of this relationship, this is causing him to question whether his own needs and boundaries are reasonable. Over time, this dynamic can lead to self doubt. You might feel you're asking too much by wanting an open and affirming relationship, but settling is not the answer. I would have been understanding if No Young Soo just left, even without a goodbye. It will be a challenge for Young, already taking care of his dying mother, but he will be fine eventually. He has great friends. But does he really need to leave like that? Undermining their whole relationship and eventually pushing Young to the edge? Because I can understand struggling with your identity and not wanting to be in a relationship anymore, but purposefully bring down someone you were in a relationship with is just plain evil. No other words for it. I feel for Young so much dealing with your dying mother and your complicated relationship with her, then your boyfriend who's supposed to be supporting you did not just leave quietly, but have to be so hateful about it. So, Young's relationship with his mother, I'm not going to dive too much into that. I don't have the mental and emotional capacity as of the moment, and I'm avoiding triggers. Let's just say that that was a lot. And I wish there was a trigger warning for Christianity. No, just kidding. I'm a practicing Catholic, so I guess I'm in a position to say that that was a lot. Christianity and queerness historically not a great combination. So Young fell into another relationship again, this time with Gyuho. And a lot of relationships start like that. It's just how you navigate it moving forward that makes for a healthy relationship, a healthy, lasting relationship. Love, affection, attraction, those are the easy parts. But what comes after that will be the challenge. And I know everyone's rooting for Gyuho to be Young's ever after, happily ever after, that is. But with their relationship, that was not going to happen. It was meant to fall apart at some point. There's always going to be a lot of disagreement, especially with living together. And a lot of times, walking away from the argument is better before it escalates. But you have to talk about it after to resolve it, or it will be happening again, which is what exactly happened in their story. Arguing about boundaries, expectations over and over again because there's no proper communication, and they obviously have very different outlook in life that they haven't compromised on yet because they don't communicate. All of Young's relationship, he just fell into and let the circumstances take him wherever, which is how he ended up with Habibi on another country. That was wild. Imagine following a one night stand to another country where you don't know anyone. But I honestly think Habibi came at just the right time. Young was just going through the motions after Gyuho, but that's to be expected after being in a relationship for a long time, especially lived in partner. I think connecting with Habibi shook up Young enough for him to be able to move forward. I love the complexity of this show, the storytelling. Most of the time, BLs are geared towards getting the two main leads together, getting them in these steamy scenes and giving them a happy ending that a lot of times are not deserved given the circumstances. My stand-in being one of them. I honestly don't agree that Joe and Ming ended up together, but I've already talked about that. Check out that review if you haven't seen it yet. I love a happy ending, but I hope that BL shows can be braver, bolder by not giving in to expectations. Let's talk about the kissing scenes, right? And the bed scenes. They did not disappoint. Right off the bat, from episode 1, I know that there's going to be a lot more skin in this show, more than we've learned to expect from Korean BLs. And how can one guy have so much chemistry with multiple people across 2 to 3 episodes when some on screen couples cannot seem to find it across multiple projects? Nam Yun Soo ate in the show, and all of it was risque, sure, but none of it was tasteless. It was so beautifully done. This is how you do NC scenes properly. I said this before. I don't need porn in my BL. What I need is intimacy, and there's a lot of ways to do that without anything getting tacky. Then let us talk about what I think is the most important part of the show, the HIV representation. Being HIV positive has always been demonized, and the people that's affected by it reduced to statistics. I think humanizing the experience is vital to remove the stigma about HIV. Representation of HIV in queer shows challenges long-standing stereotypes and stigma, portraying it as a health condition rather than a social or moral issue. It helps normalize conversations around HIV, making the subject less taboo and more accessible, especially in genres like BL where conversations about queer issues are often absent or minimized. Let's face it, some shows love to treat HIV like it's a tragic twist. But here's the thing, it's a medical condition. How accurate this representation is in this show, I wouldn't know. Unfortunately, formal education about sex and safe sex is very limited in my part of the globe, but I still appreciate that Young's struggles with being HIV positive is interwoven in the story and they did not make it his whole personality. It obviously affected his life in important moments, like any other medical condition would, but it's not his whole story. It just shows that not everyone has flawless, carefree romance that BL loves to showcase. By including HIV in the storyline, creators can show a reality that, you know, actually exists in many people's lives. It's like they're saying, look, we know real life doesn't come with soft, focused lighting and a catchy soundtrack. It's refreshing and a nice to see BL showing it can handle the truth every once in a while. Let's be real, BL has historically leaned into the fantasy, steering clear of real life issues, but by taking on a complex topic, creators prove that BL can do more. More than just love triangles and awkward eye contact and falling into each other's arms. It can reflect some real life or real world nuance too. And for those watching from a personal perspective, it's a rare, I think it's a rare validation seeing HIV positive characters in a story where they to live a full, love filled lives without all the melodrama. Well, Young's drama is not mostly about being HIV positive. Overall, I so appreciate this show. I hope that we see more of these mature themed queer shows, and Korean BLs are really upping their game because I was just done watching Let Free, The Curse of Taekwondo. Wasn't that a lot to deal with? I'm still processing. I'm still questioning the garlic ice cream as well. I'll probably talk about it in another video if I actually get around to it. Whether you're queer, straight, or somewhere in between, if you're sexually active, a little health maintenance goes a long way. Staying up to date on sexual health, regular checkups, knowing your options, and practicing safe habits is like giving yourself a pass to peace of mind. After all, taking care of yourself isn't just sensible, it's very demure, very mindful. So if you are sexually active, get tested regularly, stay informed, and remember the only drama that you need in your life is the kind that you binge watch on screen, not in your personal health. And make sure to drink your water. A lot of you are dehydrated. Bye bye.